Oh boy! Some people never quite fail to surprise with their stupidity. There have been a lot of stupid people in history that tried to pull off crimes seemingly without a brain. Some people that either just had no game plan or tried robbing the wrong person. So today we're going to be looking at history's finest examples of moronic criminals who tried to commit a felony but failed spectacularly. So let's get right into it. These are the 10 dumbest criminals in the world. Number 1 is Ruben Zarate. On March 24, 2008, 18-year-old Ruben Zarate walked into Velasquez Mufflers for Less in Chicago, Illinois at about 8 o'clock in the morning, wearing a mask and waving around a revolver while he was demanding money. The employees working there at the time explained that they had very little money and that they couldn't open the safe due to the fact that nobody knew the combination outside of the owner of the shop. Now, seeing as how the owner wasn't going to be there until much later that day, it seemed unfortunately that he was out of luck. However, determined to get his quick payday, the young man wrote down 2 phone numbers that he could be reached at and gave them to the man at the front desk, demanding that they call him the moment that the owner returned. Of course, instead, the employees called the police, and officers came to the shop in plain clothes, telling employees to call the man back. Once Zarate returned and pulled a gun out of his sweatshirt, police shot first and wounded him in the leg. He was charged the very next day with attempted robbery and aggravated assault of a police officer. Oh man, the safe is locked? Okay, well here's my number, my social insurance number, and my address. Call me later, okay. Number 2 is Derek Mosley. You know what they say, don't bring a knife to a gunfight, or at least bring more than a bat. On July 25th, 2013, 22-year-old Derek Mosley walked into a gun shop called Discount Gun Sales, located in Beaverton, Oregon, with nothing else but a baseball bat in his hand. Yeah, a gun shop. He smashed one of the glass display cases in order to steal a gun, but somehow never stopped to think that the shop's owner, clearly a gun enthusiast, might actually have a gun on him. Sure enough, the store manager pulled out his firearm, pointed it at Mosley, and demanded for him to get down on the ground. Other than pooping his pants, Mosley dropped the unloaded gun and knife and followed the instructions without incident. When police arrived, they found Mosley on the floor and arrested him immediately, charging him with first-degree robbery, first-degree theft, second-degree criminal mischief, and, naturally, unlawful possession of a firearm. Ha! You a stupid son of a bitch! Number 3 is Joey Miller and Matthew McNelly. On October 23rd of 2009, before attempting to rob a home in Carroll, Iowa, 23-year-old Matthew McNelly and 20-year-old Joey Miller decided instead of hiding their identities the traditional way, you know, using masks or pantyhose, they would use permanent black marker. So they got a couple of Sharpies and scribbled all over their faces to disguise themselves. Oh man, brilliant. Nobody should have been able to recognize them, right? Well, the thing is, the problem with permanent marker is, you know, permanent. After a call came in about the attempted burglary and suspects escaping in a vehicle, police managed to stop a car fitting the description, and they were absolutely shocked by what they saw. There were Miller and McNelly, still with marker on their faces. Appropriately nicknamed Dumb and Dumber, the two were charged with attempted burglary, and since the two were allegedly intoxicated at the time, McNelly was also charged with driving under the influence. Number 4 is Christian Bala. After his body was found in a stream in Wrocław, Poland in 2000, local small business owner Dariusz Janicki's murder went unsolved. That was until 2003 when police came across Amok, a book written by Polish author Christian Bala. In the book, the character was murdered in the same way that the man was, described using information that only the true killer would be aware of, as investigators never released it to the media. After further investigation, police found numerous other similarities between Bala and the book's main antagonist, Chris. As it turns out, Bala was the murderer and the book was a chronicling of what he did. He was arrested in 2007 and was sentenced to 25 years in prison for the planning and committing of the murder of Dariusz Janicki. But interestingly, his book sales ended up exploding because of his conviction. Yeah, I guess that's one way to sell a book. Number 5 is DARREN KIMPTON. If you've got over 36 convictions for breaking and entering and burglary, odds are pretty good that you're probably terrible at it. Specifically the getting away part. Someone should have told 49-year-old Darren KIMPTON that a long time ago before he decided to break into the same house twice in one night. While trying to break into a Northampton, England home on December 22nd, 2012, KIMPTON cut himself, leaving some blood on the door lock. Wanting nothing more than to steal items to sell in order to buy Christmas presents for his parents, he went to try breaking into the same house again. What he failed to notice, however, was that police were already on the property, as the homeowner had already obviously called the police. After putting his hand through the already broken window and trying to let himself in, the police watched him enter. Look at this stupid fool. You got this on camera? Yeah, I got the Billy Bat. We taking this fool down. Following a brief struggle, KIMPTON was caught, and tests later confirmed that the blood on the house's lock was indeed his. Well, I really hope Darren's parents enjoy their soap and cigarette Christmas gift. Number 6 is Quinton J. Thomas. On December 27, 2005, 20-year-old Stephen Kelly of Maryland was shot in the back of the head and killed during a robbery gone wrong. Shortly after, 22-year-old Quinton J. Thomas was arrested and charged with the murder. While awaiting his trial, Thomas sent out some letters to his friends on the outside. Now, what you need to understand is that at the Montgomery County Jail, only incoming mail was checked, mostly for contraband. Outgoing mail was not. Knowing this, Thomas was confident that by writing down instructions to stop certain people from testifying would be received without anybody intercepting it. Man, Quinton, you're a super genius. You brilliant. You know, except for the fact that when you put incriminating orders in writing and then misspell the address on the envelope, oh, that's not good. The letter arrived back to the prison marked return to sender. And of course, as incoming mail to the prison, it was opened by guards and Thomas was busted. It was added to the prosecutor's evidence and Thomas was later sentenced to life without parole. Number 7 is Frank Singleton. In March of 2008, 21-year-old Frank Singleton was released from a Florida County jail after serving time for a misdemeanor trespassing charge. Realizing that his journey home would require nearly a 6.2-mile-long hike, he decided to take a shortcut by carjacking someone and driving their car home. That someone was 23-year-old Justine Lapierre, who cooperated with the ex-con when handing over the keys when he demanded them. Yeah, see, the problem is though, sadly for Singleton, he didn't get very far because, as it turns out, the car that he'd stolen was a 2006 Nissan 350Z, a car that had a manual transmission. Since he didn't know how to drive stick, Singleton was unable to operate the vehicle and was immediately arrested. Now, you might be asking yourself, but Matt, how did he get caught so quick? Why didn't he just run away? Well, it turns out that the car that he stole was parked in the jail visitors parking lot. Yeah, that's right. He walked out of jail a free man, got lazy, and tried carjacking a car right out of a police parking lot. He literally wound up right back in his cell, now charged with carjacking, and all because he didn't feel like walking. Oh, you lazy, oh, you stupid. Oop, got a bit of cough. Number 8 is James Allen. As any experienced shoplifter will tell you, it's never a good idea to hit the same place twice, but that clearly was never advice heard by this guy. After successfully robbing a corner store on February 23rd, 2012, 28-year-old James Allen returned to rob the same shop on March 2nd, only 10 days later. The second time, however, things didn't exactly go as planned. After waving a plastic gun and grabbing some cash from the till, Allen tried to run off, pushing the pull door, obviously without success. He kicked at the door violently, wanting to kick out the glass panels, but instead fell backwards into a drinks display. Frustrated, he removed the balaclava he was wearing right in front of the security cameras and demanded that the manager, Amanda Kroc, let him out. As if that wasn't bad enough, just 3 hours later, the police found him still on the same street as the shop with his balaclava stuffed in his pocket. Open the door, man, I want to get out! You can get out, it says pull. Ain't no time to listen, fix it! Number 9 is Dennis Hawkins. In July of 2010, 48-year-old Dennis Hawkins decided to rob a bank in Swissvale, Pennsylvania. He decided to wear the ultimate identity concealing disguise, a blonde wig, fake breasts, and clown pants. Using a toy BB gun that he'd shoplifted that morning from a local Kmart, Hawkins made off with an undisclosed amount of cash, fleeing as best he could in a ridiculous outfit. The disguise might have worked for him had it not been for the mustache and goatee, which he decided not to shave off, which showed up clearly in the surveillance footage. After police sent out a description of Hawkins, a gas station attendant reported someone fitting that unique description attempting to steal a car from their parking lot. When police arrived, it was obvious that they had found their clown man. Despite not wearing the wig anymore, he still had on the fake breasts and was covered in red dye, a result from the exploding packet in the bag of money that he stole. Got away with it, oh man! Red dye everywhere. I'm keeping these breasts on. And number 10 is Christopher KRON. Okay, there's incompetence and then there's asking to be arrested, and this guy was definitely the latter. In August of 2008, ADT, a security company, received an alarm notification from a restaurant called Junk Canoe Bar in Fort Myers Beach, Florida. Following protocol, the agent called the business in the event that the alarm was accidental. But to her surprise, 47-year-old Christopher KRON answered the phone. KRON had just broken into the restaurant and didn't seem to mind that the phone call had interrupted his robbery, even giving the representative his actual full name. Hi, how about you? Yes, I'm lonely. Yes, I broke into a store. My name's Christopher KRON. And I'm going to jail. Okay. When he couldn't give the correct password, the agent notified the police, but KRON escaped with 2 bottles of alcohol. Oh, big score. Incredibly, the next morning, he went back to that restaurant that he had robbed to have a drink and was immediately recognized by an employee who had seen the surveillance video. The police arrived. KRON was immediately arrested. What an idiot. So those were the 10 dumbest criminals in the world, possibly in history. But as always, I want to know from you, have you heard of a story of a dumb criminal who has done something so dumb that they deserve to be on this list? Leave your response below because I'll be reading through them and I'll pin the best comment to the top. Thank you guys so much for coming by today. If you enjoyed this, make sure to hit that like button and don't forget to come back here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because I'll have a brand new video for you. I will see you then. Bye! Huh?